Hey, if you're free tomorrow, there is food for the soul here at the high school. So if you want to support local and grab a bite to eat, are you guys playing tomorrow? And Ken and his band is playing tomorrow. Well, it was Kalai. Their guys are going to be playing tomorrow as well. So if you want to hear some solid music, come out, listen. But if you want to support local and you want to be here, just get plugged into the community that's here. It's always opportunity is always open for us. So take advantage of it if you can. If you can make it, go ahead and take advantage of that. It's going to be good. They always have so many vendors. I don't know. Farmers markets are like there's one everywhere now. I couldn't even believe. Me and my wife, sometimes we just drive by and like, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there. There's pop-ups everywhere. I can't keep up. Like, I really can't. There was actually one pop-up we wanted to go to, and I was like, I didn't even know where it was, what time it was, because there's so many farmers markets that we didn't know where to go and what to do. So it's cool that we have one here at the high school, though a little tiny one, and it gets fairly busy at times, but it's always available for you guys, food for the soul. So let's open in our Bibles to Mark chapter 6 this morning. Today is communion, and so we want to continue to prepare our hearts with what God's already done and preparing us by His Spirit through worship. And just want to make mention that to you guys. We're going to be partaking of communion together at the end of service, and so begin to prepare your hearts now as we're going through the Word together. But we're going to pick up here in the Gospel of Mark, starting where we left off, in chapter 6. Chapter 5 left us with quite an observation, if you would, of just how amazing it is to see Jesus in action. I mean, chapter 5 was just full of Jesus moving from place to place. And it's amazing because, as we look at the chapter, He's always surrounded by a multitude. But somehow He's always able to just zone in on that one person that He had an appointment with. I love that so much, that in the crowd and in the crazy, Jesus always meets the person who needs Him the most in that moment right there. And it's really wonderful to watch there in chapter 5. And we saw Jesus here in the last year of His public ministry. And He's beginning to reveal and He's beginning to exercise certain things that He has held back during His ministry, primarily for the reason of the fulfillment of Scripture. Or as Jesus would say, you see it in the Bible, it says, the time has come, Jesus would say. And now He begins to enter into things. And so in chapter 5, we saw Jesus exercise and display a number of things, but 3 stuck out to us. It was His authority over the spiritual realm. It was His authority over sickness and death, and it was His authority over the grave and death. The grave and death. And so He did that through 3 lives in particular that we got to look at in chapter 5. It was the Gerasene demoniac. You remember, they just came off the Sea of Galilee with the storm. They step onto the sand, and it says immediately. That always got me in Mark chapter 5. Immediately, here comes the Gerasene demoniac. We don't know how he was coming at Jesus. I imagine that the disciples were kind of huddled behind Jesus because they knew of this man. But immediately, the demoniac comes, and Jesus, He has this, I think it's phenomenal. Jesus, He could have just snapped right there and the demons could have fled. But Jesus, He stops and He has a conversation with this Gerasene demoniac. And He exercises His authority over the spiritual realm. Legion, it was called there in chapter 5. Many were there. Secondly, He went on, and there was a woman. There was a woman with the issue of blood that we saw. And, she had this giant faith, didn't she? She said, if I can just get close enough to Jesus, if I can just touch the hem, the crespidon, we studied it, just the hem of His garment, I know I can be healed if I just get there. And certainly she does, right? She gets through the crowd, she touches His hem, and Jesus immediately, it said there, He knew that power was flowing from Him. He said, who touched my hem? And remember, the disciples are like, Jesus, what are you talking about? Everybody's touching you, dude. They're all pressing in on you. Everybody's trying to get to you. What do you mean? And He says, you, the woman,